It is now close to 5:30, which is the advertised day and time for this meeting. My name is Tyler Schaefer. I'm usually the vice chair of this. Tonight I'm chairing, so it will probably be a mess, so I apologize in advance. Just work with me. We'll get through it. That being said, I would like to start off by introducing the members of our board here tonight. We have Mr. Stephen Coe, Ms. Shanna Adams, Mr. Garrett Craig, and our planning staff. We have Julia Crane, Planning Director, Joella Thomas, Senior Planner, Aiden Dennehy, Planner 1, and Ms. Becky Roll, Administrative Specialist. That doesn't give you enough credit. Okay. The first case in front of us tonight is a special use permit 25-5. Special use application by Jolene Anderson, owner, and Doug and Cindy McGinnis, agents, to locate a short-term rental in an existing residence in accordance with the requirements of section 17.38.180 of the Butte-Silver Municipal Code. The property is located at 3545 Whiteway, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. Now we're ready for the report.
Thanks, Tyler.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, as Tyler said, this is a special use for Airbnb located at 3545 Whiteway. It's special use number 25-5. Special use permit application by Jolene Anderson, and then the representatives are Doug and Cindy McGinnis. And the proposal is to locate an Airbnb in an existing residence per section 1738-180. Special uses allowed of the Butte-Silver Municipal Codes. The applicant is proposing to rent out a 3-bedroom residence for overnight stays and short-term rentals through online hosting programs. The staff findings, the process provides for review of physical conditions which exist at the location, the conduct and operations of the proposed use, and whether the combination of these factors will be compatible with the proposed site and surrounding areas. Lodging provided by a homeowner for compensation is recognized as a special use allowed in any residential zoning district, provided that the prescribed use is in harmony with the other uses permitted in the zone and not found to be contrary to public interest. To provide the board with information about the proposed special use, the applicant and planning staff have responded to the established 20 questions outlined here. This is an aerial view of the property outlined there in blue. It's near Atherton Way, White Way, and then to the south of that is the golf course. It is located in an R1 or single-family zoning district. This is the comprehensive plan place type. It is in the contemporary neighborhood. The contemporary place type neighborhood primarily serves the residential needs of urban areas. Generally, they are single-family residential housing, but they also provide the opportunity for higher density housing where appropriate, and they do include resort scale development in rural parts of the county. They are generally pedestrian friendly and accessible for all modes of transportation. Here's another overview, just kind of showing the location and character. Majority of the housing in this area is single-family homes. Again, to the south and southeast are the Butte Country Club. This is looking north down White Way and south down White Way at some of the residential homes that are in the area. Some of the potential nuisances that we do see with short-term rentals are noise. Short-term renters may be less concerned about creating excessive noise within the neighborhood, And staff would suggest that the owner enforce rules through online hosting programs that does not allow for parties, and also wayfinding. Staff believes that the address should be clearly posted and visible from the street to mitigate the potential for guests to mistake neighbors' housing for the rental unit. These are the conditions of approval. The applicant shall be required to secure a state of Montana public accommodation license, and that would be through the Butte-Silver Health Department. Any remodeling of the existing residence performed to accommodate the proposed business will be required to meet all applicable building and health code requirements, as required by the Butte-Silver Building Code Department and the Butte-Silver Health Department. All necessary approvals must be granted prior to the applicant receiving their final business license approval. The property address must be visible, including past dark, and entrance must be clearly identified. And the applicant shall be limited to the occupancy levels as determined by the Butte-Silver Building Department and the Butte-Silver Fire Marshals. The applicant will be limited specifically to the business as stated and approved. Any future business expansions, changes to the business, or building expansions will be required further review by the Zoning Board of Adjustments. And finally, the applicant will be required to acquire a BSB business license for short-term rental. In conclusion, based on the above information, staff's analysis of the review criteria, and any public opinion as it relates to the criteria, the board must determine if the applicant has presented evidence to the satisfaction of the board that says undue detriment will not result from granting of a special use permit for the short-term rental. Section 1738-160, special or conditional use permits decision of the board, requires staff to refer the application to the board within 15 days of the receipt of the application and all requested information. The board shall within 60 days deny the application and give reason for the denial in writing, or approve the application, and the zoning officer shall issue a zoning compliance permit with conditions specified therein. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Do any board members have any questions of the staff? Hearing none, I will ask, is there any party in the crowd that would like to speak in support of the application? Hearing none, I will move on to, is there anybody who would like to, am I missing something?
I have a letter that came in.
Oh, okay. Are we reading it?
Mr. Chairman, we received a letter from Commissioner Fisher, Jim Fisher. He wrote this in his capacity as a private citizen and expressed that he'd asked the board to approve special use 25-5, Jolene Anderson and Doug and Cindy McGinnis as agents to rent a single-family residence at 3545 White Way as a short-term rental, and that your consideration for approval on this matter is greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Director Crane. Is there anybody who would like to speak against this application? Hearing none, I will close the public portion of the meeting, and we will go into the very private portion of the meeting where we discuss this case. Thank you. Would the applicants please step forward? Thank you. Do you want to come up here? Come on.
Okay, so I'm Cindy McGinnis, the mother of Jolene Anderson. We manage or maintain the place for her, so she winters in Arizona and summers here. We presented letters from the neighbors and we also have one more that they didn't get to us before I don't know if we can present it or not, of the neighbors and talk to neighbors that if they want to write a letter, that they were not opposing us doing that. We haven't, I don't know, we haven't had any problems with any of the neighbors, and my daughter goes through Airbnb and Verbo, so she follows all the rules that are set in place.
I'm Doug McGinnis. I'm Jolene's dad. I'm the maintenance man. I do all the work on the house and stuff, take care of the grass. We've had people rent the place that use the country club for golfing on a weekend when there's golf tournaments in town. There's a lot of people that rent the house for weddings, family. They're usually coming back to Butte to be with family. So there's, and we never had any complaints with the neighbors because everybody's pretty quiet and they just stay in the house. And like we said, there's always somebody there that's people that come. They're always coming to visit people in Butte. So, and they do surrounding stuff, or they go to their family or friends and stuff in Butte while they're here staying at the house. So
We've never had a problem with cops being called. The neighbors know, they all have our phone number. If we ever had someone that rented the house that was having a party, they know they can call us at any time, but we have never experienced that. They usually follow all the rules.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. McGinnis. Okay, now we'll go into some board discussion. Moving on. Stephen, are you ready? Okay, let's let it fly, bud.
I'll take your usual speech that we see these almost every meeting, and we've got a long standing, wouldn't call it a tradition, but precedence of approving these. So I see no reason to not move forward with this.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I would echo those statements. No issue for me either.
Thank you. Sure, you good. Okay. That being said, I think we could probably move on to a vote, or a motion, I guess we would need from someone.
I'll make a motion to approve special use permit 25-5.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Thanks, Steve. I'm just going to need a couple minutes to tally up these votes, and then we'll be able to get on. But looks like the motion has passed with unanimous support of 4 votes, and your application is approved. Thank you. Good luck with your Airbnb. Way above my opinion. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Okay, moving on to the next case on the docket, we have Special Use 25-7, which is a special use application by G&J Thompson Ranch, LLC. Okay, out of breath again. Joyce and Gary Thompson, owner, to locate a short-term rental in an existing residence in accordance with the requirements of Section 17.38.180 of the Butte-Silver Municipal Code, and this is at 701 Arizona Street, number 301. I guess we're ready for the staff report.
Perfect.
Aiden.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is for special use 25-7. The applicants, as stated, is G&J Thompson Ranch LLC and Joyce and Gary Thompson. This is also to locate a short-term Airbnb in an existing residential condo complex. Per section 1738-180 of the Butte-Silver Municipal Code, the property is legally addressed as 701 South Arizona Street, Unit 103, or 301, sorry. Staff findings, lodging provided by homeowners for compensation is recognized as a special use allowed in any residential zoning district, provided that the prescribed use is in harmony with other permitted uses in the area. The special use process provides for review of public input, a measure of the potential impact of the proposed use on the surrounding neighborhood, and compatibility of the proposed use with the adjoining neighborhood. In this presentation, we've outlined the questions in the application. This are two aerial images showing where it is located. As you can see, it's in the CM zone, which is commercial and light industrial. Across the street is an industrial zone. This is located on Arizona, corner of Arizona and Aluminum Street. This is an outside image of the condo complex. So the character of the property and surrounding buildings. So though this is a commercial and light industrial zone, the existing building was granted and approved for a variance to allow for residential uses in 2021 through variance 21-2. It went through extensive remodel and now contains condos. The surrounding area consists of residential, commercial, and industrial uses. Casa Grande Steakhouse, S.J. Perry, R&R Electric, and Steele's Furniture are all in close proximity to the property. Proposed vehicle access, circulation, and parking. Vehicle access to and from the property is acceptable for the proposed use. Access to the front of the residence is provided via off-street parking on South Arizona Avenue. Aluminum Street also features off-street parking options for guests. Off-street parking appears to be the primary option for people in this area. There appears to be no handicap-specific parking areas. Planning staff recommends that applicants provide a detailed description of parking accommodations in their listing. Potential nuisances, similar to the last case. Primary concern is for increased traffic in the area. However, if the occupancy of the condo is in conformance with the residential building code, renting out the unit in question on a short-term basis should not considerably impact traffic as to what is normally expected of the CM zone. Also, short-term renters may be less concerned about creating excessive noise within the dwelling. Staff would suggest the applicants enforce rules through the online hosting program that do not allow for parties. So the use conforms to the objective of the comprehensive plan and purpose of the ordinance. The comprehensive plan place type for the designation of this property is the North Corridor. This place type serves as a major transportation routes for people and goods, linking urban neighborhoods to each other and providing fast and easy access to the urban core of Butte. The area consists of a mix of commercial, light industrial, and multifamily residential uses. The proposed use will not adversely affect nearby properties or their occupants. When considering the low impact commercial nature of the proposal, planning staff believe it would have minimal impact on adjacent properties and property owners. The proposed use will not adversely change the use of the property in question. The established character of the existing neighborhood would not appear to be impacted by this proposal, it would have no effect or change to the aesthetics of the area. Similar conditions, the applicant would be required to get a Montana Public Accommodations license through the Butte-Silver Health Department. Any remodeling would have to be in compliance with all building codes, health codes, and fire codes of the Butte-Silver building and code department, fire department, and health department. The property address must be visible, including past dark. Entrances must be clearly identified. The applicant shall be limited to occupancy level as determined by the Butte-Silver Building Code Department and Fire Marshal. The applicants will be limited specifically to the business. As stated, any expansions or changes will be subject to review by the Zoning Board of Adjustment. The applicants will be required to get a Butte-Silver business license. In conclusion, based off the information provided, the application staff's analysis of the reviewed criteria, any public opinion as it relates to the criteria, the board must determine if the applicant has presented evidence to the satisfaction of the zoning board. This requires staff to refer the application to the board within 15 days of receipt. The board shall within 60 days deny or approve this application. And that is the conclusion for special use 25-7.
Thank you, Ms. Dennehy.
Thank you.
Would the applicants care to step forward and sell their case for this?
Good evening. Thank you for your time. My name is Joyce Thompson. My husband Gary and I have been wanting to own a piece of property in Butte for a long time for multiple reasons. We love the spirit of the people, we love the architecture, and we've spent a lot of time here. Don't hate us. We're third-generation Montanans, but we do live in the Bozeman area. We equate that to people coming from other places that we don't care for, but we want to integrate ourselves into the community. We've spent a lot of time here. This possibility for us came up about 2 years ago. It is in the Fairmont Creamery building, which was totally burnt out. The architect and the builder did a great job. We were able to come in on the ground floor and waited for 2 years to get it. It is not our intent, and I put this in the information I provided, to rent it a lot, and we may not at all. But the dues are close to $5,000 a year, and if we aren't working full-time like we are now, we want to be able to have the opportunity to do so just to cover those. The more we're here, the less we want to rent it, but I'm a real estate broker, so I know the importance of doing things the right way. So does anyone have a question for me, or? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Okay, is there anyone in the crowd who would care to speak in support of this application? Hearing nobody, I'll move on to see if there's anybody who would care to speak against the application. Uh-oh.
And it's a body shop garage, been there for over 25 years. My concern is parking. I don't have a complaint about this being done, but as it stands, the parking gets a little crowded at times. I've had some of the tenants from the apartment building where I've had to talk to them about moving out of my driveways. And that's my concern. And I'd like to see a little better situation with the parking in the area. I mean, I know it's all business, commercial, but there's been days I go up there and you can't get anybody in the building, get a hold of any of them, talk to them to get them to move their cars because the door's locked. So, and I know that the landlord's supposed to have give them messages, the owners and that, not to be parking in those driveways. And it happens, you know, and it's been that way with S.J. Perry and everything up there. But I'd like to see something done, if nothing else, with Aluminum Street. The north side of it has got a garage with a big lot in it, and it's no curbing, no sidewalk there for them to park at. And the landlord, he has the north side of that building. They park 3 vehicles there, and there's 2 in front that they park. That's where they encroach on my driveway. but they're really close to the stop sign in the corner on that corner. So that, to me, should be addressed. I have no problem with what they want to do with the place, because everybody's been congenial. I have issue every once in a while.
Okay.
And that's all I wanted to say.
Sir,
Okay?
your concerns are very understandable. What I would just ask is that the planning staff here, if they could maybe work in conjunction with you and probably get with the parking commission a little bit too, to get that something fixed, maybe some signage or something. I don't know what the solution is there. I know I don't have it.
I think in the beginning, they had talked about putting it on Aluminum Street, you know, so, because there's plenty of area there. But you have a lot of semis that go through there. And I can't tell you how many times I almost been in a wreck at that intersection.
Oh, yeah.
Because they run that stop sign constantly. And unfortunately, I've seen police officers do it too,
Oh, I'd believe that too.
you know, so.
It appears as though Director Crane has a comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was wondering if you could clarify the intersection where the issue is taking place. Is it the intersection of Utah and Aluminum or Arizona and Aluminum?
Arizona and Aluminum Street.
Okay.
They have a stop sign headed east and west there, but not north and south. And that Arizona Street gets to be a real drag strip from Second Street up to Platinum. So. I mean,
Thank you.
That's my concern, is just the parking issue of it. And I know there's gonna be people coming and going, and we deal with it all the time, but when I go up in the evenings or on weekends, I don't like to have to go find somebody to get into my own garage. Okay.
Totally understandable. And I would just again reiterate that if we could get maybe the planning staff to get with the plan or the parking people and maybe community enrichment or God knows who else around here. But we'll get someone on it.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if they don't blame me, but if they do, give me credit. Okay, thank you. Okay. We will now go to the board discussion portion of the meeting and let someone talk.
I can just say ditto to what I said last time, that we have a longstanding precedence on this. Knowing this building pretty intimately, these are beautiful condos, and you know, congratulations on owning one. They're very nice. I think the parking is something that can be worked through, and I think going back to the original zoning variance for the site, I think there was a parking study that was done, and maybe that needs to be revisited.
Duly noted. Anyone else? Okay. Motion time.
I'll make a motion to approve special use permit 25-7.
I'll second the motion.
The motion has been made and seconded. We can now vote. I've tallied up all the votes, and it looks like we have a unanimous decision for approval on application for special use 25-7. Congratulations, that's a big deal, and good luck with your project or in your Airbnb, and thank you. Well, we're very excited for you, and welcome to Butte as you come over more. Thank you. Okay, moving on quickly to variance 25-4, which is a variance application by Kylie Knapziger from Monteriors, the owners, and Al Schwemmeling, Beartooth Signs, to place one 55-square-foot sign on the north facade and one 55-square-foot sign on the south facade of the newly constructed building located at 4500 Harrison Avenue, rather than placing a freestanding sign on Harrison Avenue. Okay. Ms. Thomas, you must have a report for us. Take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this application is for approximately 4500 Harrison Avenue. Just to specify, this property has not been officially addressed yet. And it's variance number 25-4. Variance application 25-4. The applicants, again, are Kylie Knapziger, that's the property owner, and the agent is Al Schwammelin. The proposal is to install one wall sign on the north facade of a newly constructed Monteriors building rather than on the west-facing facade. And although the north facade does not directly front a public street, it does face southbound traffic on Harrison Avenue. Additionally, the applicant proposes installing one 55-square-foot wall sign on the south facade, reflecting a 25% increase over the 30-square-foot allowed on a secondary frontage. The applicant is forgoing the installation of the allowable 3 freestanding signs, which could potentially be 900 square feet in sign area as permitted under our code. Section 174250, letter C, number 7B, states that total wall sign area in a C2 and C3 zone shall not exceed 40% of a building facade to which it is attached per street frontage. When a business does have more than one frontage, but not a main entrance on the additional frontage, they are allowed a 30-square-foot sign on that street frontage. The lot in question has historically remained vacant and is situated west of the Butte-Muni Airport. It is bordered by single-family residents to the east and commercial properties to the north and to the south. This is an aerial view. On the left-hand side is the zoning designations. As you can see, M1 is directly to the west of the property. It's mainly surrounded by C2, and across Harrison to the east is an R1S, but it is the Butte-Muni Airport. The photograph on the right is just depicting where the floodplain runs through the center of this property. These are some site plans that were given to us from the applicants for the signage. Where you see letter A and D are where the proposed signs are. B and C would be outright permitted. That would be the signs on Harrison Avenue. The north and south elevation are on the photo to the right. Another aerial view of the surrounding area. To the south, you've got Star Lanes, Montana Ribbon Chop, the Copper King Convention Center, again, the Butte-Muni Airport to the east, the fitness courts, and an empty or a vacant lot directly adjacent to the property. And then to the west are all single-family residential homes. The first criteria of a variance is a variance must not be contrary to public interest. Sign requirements were established by the Council of Commissioners to protect the public's interest by providing specific zones in which signs are permitted. Those zoning districts are the C1, CM, C2, C3, M1, and M2 zones. Within those zones, further restrictions are present, limiting the number, height, area, and location of signage. Sign specifications have been established to prevent the proliferation of signs within the community eliminate potential for signs to have a negative impact on residential property owners, preserve and guarantee aesthetic values, and protect the natural environment. Potential negative impacts could include lighting glare, obstruction of scenic views, and increased visibility of commercial uses within residential zones. The proposed wall signs are intended to support wayfinding for both northbound and southbound traffic, traveling at speeds of about 45 miles an hour north and south on Harrison. The placement of these signs would assist the public to identify the business in a timely manner and will minimize signage along Harrison Avenue. This would be achieved by eliminating the installation of the outright allowed 3 freestanding signs of up to 900 square feet and by foregoing allowable signage on the west side of the building, which faces the residential properties. The addition of one 55-square-foot wall sign on the north facade of the building, positioned away from any residential parcels, along with an increase of 25 square feet for one wall sign on the south side, would not be contrary to public interest. The proposed signage placement and size minimizes visual impact on nearby residential areas while supporting effective visibility and wayfinding along a major commercial thoroughfare. As such, the request aligns with the goals of maintaining public welfare. The second criteria of a variance is the literal enforcement of provisions of the title will not result in unnecessary hardship. Unnecessary hardship, as defined by Montana Supreme Court, must result from a condition unique to the property, such as peculiar property shape, topographical features, a geological trait. This quality must preclude the applicant's ability to place the structure on the property in compliance with the zoning ordinance. The hardship may not result from a condition created by the applicant. This parcel does present several hardships. The first, the property is located adjacent to a designated floodplain area, which limits the parcel's buildable area. This constraint has limited the placement of the structures as well as where they would be able to put freestanding signs. The parcel is also located on a corner lot, requiring compliance with vision clearance triangle standards. This further reduces the available space for sign placement and visibility for public right-of-ways. And the final hardship, there are 2 existing off-premise signs to the north of the property, which may obstruct visibility of signage located closer to Harrison Avenue, hindering the applicant's ability to achieve visibility. These conditions are specific to this property and they are not self-imposed by the applicant. They present constraints impacting compliance with the standard signage regulations, and the signage proposal avoids compromising the business visibility and function. Planning staff find that the lot configuration, existence of off-premise signs obstructing visibility, and constraints related to the floodplain do present site-specific hardships. These are just some photos of the north and south facade of where they would put their signage rather than having the freestanding signs off of Harrison. The final criteria is the spirit of the zoning ordinance. Signs are regulated according to zone, and the placement and physical dimensions are regulated primarily by length of street frontage and zoning districts per Butte-Silver Municipal Code 1742-1. The sign regulations intend to coordinate type, placement, and physical dimensions of signs within the different land use zones, to recognize the commercial communication requirements of all sectors of the business community, to encourage the innovative use of design, to mitigate the impact of commercial signs on Butte's surrounding natural scenic beauty, to allow for special circumstances, and to guarantee equal treatment under the law through accurate recording and consistent enforcement. These shall be accomplished by regulation of display, erection, use, and maintenance of the signs. The spirit of the zoning ordinance shall be observed and substantial justice done. Literal interpretation of the provisions of this chapter would not allow the applicant to construct wall signs on the north and south facade of the structure, per 174250 of Butte-Silver Bow Municipal Codes, due to the fact that it does state that wall sign area in the C2 and C3 zones shall not exceed 40% of the building facade to which it is attached per street frontage. When a business has a secondary frontage but does not have a main entrance on the additional frontage, they are allowed 30 square feet of signage. And the second criteria there, due to the unique conditions outlined above, approving this variance would not constitute granting of a special privilege to the applicant. In fact, the applicant is requesting to decrease the amount of signage permitted under the current code. If desired, the applicant could install 3 freestanding signs, again totaling up to 900 square feet in size. However, they are opting for a more modest and less impactful approach. Additionally, the applicant would be permitted to place a 30 square foot wall sign on the west facade of the building, which does face a residentially dense area, and instead they are asking to install the signage on the north facade facing other commercial properties. This proposal remains well within the intent and spirit of the requirements that would otherwise be allowed under the zoning code. Conclusions and recommendations. Staff finds the proposal to install a 155 square foot wall sign on the north facade of the Monterior's building and 155 square foot wall sign on the south facade, representing 25 square feet increase over what is typically allowed, is appropriate given the unique circumstances of the site. Staff also finds that the request is consistent with the spirit and intent of the zoning ordinance, as it does represent a reasonable signage solution that balances visibility for the business with consideration for surrounding land uses. Additionally, the proposed signage is unlikely to be contrary to public interest, as it reduces impacts to the adjacent residential properties by avoiding the west facade and retaining moderation in signage square footage relative to what could be permitted outright. The recommendation is to approve the variance application based on written findings of facts as described in the staff report. Alternatively, the zoning board could deny the application or continue public hearing of the application with specific direction to staff or the applicant to supply additional information or to address specific items. Conditions of approval, staff would recommend all site signage must comply with the C2 sign regulations of Butte-Silver Bow Municipal Code unless it's otherwise modified through approval of this variance. And all site signage shall procure the appropriate building permits and approvals prior to installation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Would the applicants care to step forward? Come on up.
I'm Justin Fortune. I'm representing Monteriors and the sign applicant. Neither one could be here tonight, so they asked me to come. I think my own opinion, I think the signs are better than the monument signs. I think it's less impactful for the building. I think it's better advertisement for them. They've invested a lot of money into the building, and the look that they're going for, the signs match the building. They match the other 4 locations they have, and I don't think it's a disturbance to anything.
Thank you, Mr. Fortune. Just for the record, there is nobody else in the crowd that could speak for or against this application, so we're going to move on to board discussion.
Mr. Chair, I think it's a pretty reasonable compromise, reducing the overall sign square footage, and it's going to look a lot nicer than having the monument signs, in my opinion.
I personally think it's going to look a lot nicer. I think it's a lot cleaner look.
Agreed.
And I think it does fit with the building a lot better, like Mr. Fortune stated. And it's probably a little safer for the airport, if it matters, I guess. But I kind of share your same opinion, Mr. Cope. Anyone else?
Same thing on my end. It makes a lot of sense to me.
Would anyone care to make a motion?
I'll go 3 for 3 today and make a motion to approve.
You've done really well this far, so
Yeah,
don't
thanks.
stop now.
Make a motion to approve variance 25-4.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. We can all vote. Well, the votes have been tallied, and we do have another close one, but it is unanimous support for this application, so it's been approved. So, Mr. Fortune, if you could pass the good news on to your clients, that'd be great. Good luck with your project. It's looking good. Take care. Letter is in the mail.